Hi, everyone, and welcome to the Chief Women Arise talk show. I'm your host, Sharon Williams, and for this segment, we're going to spend some time talking together in discussion about how to save your children. So I'm really excited about this topic because this comes right from my background. I am the founder and executive director of Act for the Nations, and we help women and children attain a better way of life. We travel around the world and we assist with organizations that are fighting the fight against sex trafficking. And so as we look through around the world and this epidemic that is happening with trafficking, it is right here in our neighborhood, right in our back door. And so as we are working together for this cause, I want to bring it to your attention. And I know it's not an easy subject. It's something we don't really want to know about. We don't really even want to talk about it. Because it's just not a fun topic. We don't want to hear stories of the horrors of kids that have been trafficked. But there's a positive side too. If we look at what's being done and how we're able to help with these children, then we can make a difference. We can be empowered to know what to do in our community. So I want to share just for a few minutes and then we'll get into our discussion. I want to share with you some stats, just to give you the information, because we can't turn a blind eye on this any longer. It's becoming so prevalent. It's right here in our backyard. Here in Florida, this is the third largest trafficking state in the U.S. California is number one, Texas is number two, and Florida is number three. Can you believe that?
Wow.
Yeah. It's terrible. Why? There's a lot of reasons why Florida is the one. Number three is because number one, we're a tourist state. And so obviously we have people come in all the time that come into our city, our state, and they want to party. They come in ready for a vacation. They want to leave their homes and their lifestyle and do something different. And so they come in, and so it's an opportunity for traffickers. I used to think that everybody who's in prostitution is there because they want to be, because they can make good money, and that's so not the case. And everybody's nodding their heads, shaking their heads. No, you'll agree with me that we can't look at it that way, because the majority of the people that are in prostitution are not there because they want to be. They're forced into it. They don't feel like they have a way out. And so they are, in that sense, trafficked as well. So we include all of those as being trafficked. Another stat that a lot of people don't know is that the boys now are being trafficked. And that's become, you can actually get more money paying for a boy than you can for a girl now. And so that's become an incredible thing too. So we've got to protect all of our children, not just the girls. It's estimated that there's 199,000 incidences in the US every year. That many kids. So just, it's terrible. In Florida, the last stat that I had was in 2019. So there were 896 cases of human trafficking in Florida, 896 kids. Just on the way here, I saw a sign, I don't know if you guys saw it, where there was someone kidnapped, and they do the alert for that. And so, and so it's happening all the time. It's a terrible thing. So we have to do something about it. So what do we do? What can we do as a community? What can we do as individuals? What can we do in our families? One thing I love is I saw in Atlanta through the airport this campaign. You may have heard it as you're traveling, where they come out on the speaker and they say, if you see something, say something. And I think it's a great campaign, because it's difficult sometimes for us to know when to say something, when to speak up, and when not. We think, well, I don't know what to do or what to say or who to say it to. Who do I talk to? So that's something we need to discuss today as well. There are a lot of projects in Jacksonville, here, our home city. A lot of them you may recognize. One is called Her Song. Another one is Rethreaded. That's really popular here, doing a lot of work against trafficking. The DEMP Project is another one. Hadassah's Hope is another one. So these are great projects that are happening in our city and around the country. There's other projects like this. So there are people making a difference. So I don't want to come too negative. I want us to see that it is happening. There are people who are rising up and doing something about it. There's another one called SOAP, save our adolescents from prostitution. And the Soap Project takes donated soaps and put the hotline for trafficking on the soap, and they go and place them in hotels around the city. And I had the privilege of volunteering with them one year. We took some of our team in and went into the hotels and presented these projects to the hotel staff. And it was very cool, very, very meaningful for me. I felt like I was doing something. You know, it's a simple thing, but you can make a difference. But the story I want to tell is I went into one hotel and we offered the hotline and the soap and explained what we were doing. And they said, you know, I don't know when to say something. They said, it's so hard for me. They said, a couple of weeks ago, we had this man and this child, a little girl, come in and book a room. And she said, we didn't know, you know, it's kind of unusual for a dad to come in with a little girl and no other family. And they were thinking, I don't know, should I say something? Should I not say something? What do I do with this? And she said that it turned out that he was her dad and they were here for some kind of competition, cheerleading or gymnastics or something. So she was really glad to hear, you know, that it was her real father. And I said, yeah, but what if it wasn't? And you didn't say anything. You had an opportunity to save a child's life, but you held back because you didn't want to make a mistake. And that was eye-opening, even to me, as I was talking to her. You know, we get in fear. We think, well, you know, what if I'm wrong? I don't want to accuse a dad, you know, when he's just being a good dad, you know. But if we don't speak up, you know, who's going to stand for them? Who's going to be the advocate for these children? So there are hotlines. There's a whole Northeast Florida Human Trafficking Coalition. So we are blessed to be in a place where there is a lot going on in our city. And being right at the border of Georgia, you know, we do have a lot coming in. And then, of course, the I-10 corridor that comes across the nation is definitely a hotbed for this kind of work at every truck stop along the way. So we are centrally located with both of those coming together right here in Jacksonville. So I want to open up to the group here and get some discussion going, because I know you guys have something to say. So, you know, what can we do? All of us have children. What can we do to protect our kids? How do we make those kinds of choices? What are some suggestions that maybe you have for this topic?
I was going to say, in that situation with the hotel clerk, sometimes it's about knowing how to ask a question without being so direct. So, because I used to be in the hospitality years ago in hotels. So it's kind of like that conversation, like, hey, I see you guys are here. Is this your daughter? Or something, not is this your daughter, or are you in town for something special? You know, or just sometimes you want to make that conversation with people. And sometimes you notice if maybe that trafficking is going on, that we really should probably short, really like, but if it's dad and daughter, it's going to be like, yeah, you know, we're here in town, you know, so just maybe something like that, you know, just making that conversation, general conversation. You might suspect something, but don't know. So you could just kind of fish a little bit without, you know.
Yeah, Shana, that's good. It's really important to do that, to take that step. You know? And a lot of us are afraid to do that, but if you just use normal conversation, one of the signs that we're trained to see is, you know, is the child interacting with the adult? You know, is there affection? Is there openness for the child? You know, those kinds of things are signs as well. So, yeah, it's good. Someone else?
I know I have family members that are in the hospitality in South Florida, and one of my cousins is actually a manager of a hotel there, and she's in direct connection with Homeland Security. They even have her phone number. And we were talking about a couple months ago, and she was saying like she's seeing this like every day at her job. So her being in connection with the hotel security and Homeland Security, she just calls them now and say, we have this suspected going on. And she said when she first started, she wouldn't do it, but the more prevalent she saw it, and she's a woman, she's like, she see girls, she see kids, she sees so much bad treatment. And then she said she also noticed it was a reoccurrence of these people. So she would see the same person with different people. She would even go to see them in Walmart or seeing them interact outside of the hotel. So I think if she was really put in a place where she could be an advocate for people when they come in and out, and share those things with Homeland Security. So hopefully the victims won't continue to be trafficked.
So good, Sharon. And to pick up the phone and call. I mean, that's probably the number one thing, the easiest thing that we can do is call the hotline. I mean, they're experts and you can just ask them a question. What do you think on this situation? What should I do? You know, do you think this is legit or what? And they'll advise you.
Yeah.
That's what they're there for. So it's good. Use the hotline.
Yes.
Yeah. I think also keeping in contact with your neighborhood. For example, I have a Facebook group. I have 2 Facebook groups for my neighborhood. You know, it's not very big. We have about 100 houses. And being able to keep up with the Facebook group, we keep each other informed about what's going on in our neighborhood. And for example, there was one guy that was seen near the elementary school back of the neighborhood. And he was watching the children as they were going down the path to the elementary school. And, you know, for a parent in the neighborhood to say, hey, there's this strange guy, I've never seen him before, you know, he's on a motorcycle, he looks like this and that. And he's watching the children as they go to school. It just helps us to be more aware of things, you know. But also something else that was coming to mind when you were talking, Sharon, is that me being a single mom and having a boy, I really had to have some hard convictions about allowing my son to go to the bathroom by himself. It took me a very, very long time to trust him to go into the bathroom, not trust him, but to trust other people. And I kept explaining that to him every time. You know, we go to a rest stop or a bathroom, you know, in a convenience store or something like that. I'd say, you have to be really careful, honey, and you have to watch all around you. And, you know, I'm doing this to protect you. So I kept bringing him to the women's bathroom for a very long time until he was probably about 7 or 8, and I started practicing with church. That was my practice, was, okay, I trust the church. I trust most of the people in the church. I think it'll be all right there, but outside that, so then it took me about another year to really trust, you know, to be able to allow them to go into the men's bathroom in convenience stores and things like that. But, you know, making sure he understands that we have to look at our surroundings, who's around us, you know, what are they doing? You know, are they interacting with you? What are they saying to you? You know, those sorts of things. And I think organizations like Scouts and 4-H really help to advocate for the child and help the children understand what they're supposed to do in situations like that, right? To be aware of those signs.
Yeah, that's good, Naomi. I think empowering our kids is important.
Mm-hmm.
You know, but there again, you've got to have that balance. You don't want to put fear in them.
Right.
You know, like
Sure.
your son, you had to do that over a period of time so that he didn't get fearful.
Yeah.
Right.
He didn't think that somebody was going to get him every time he went to the bathroom.
Right.
So we have to be aware of those things and teach our children these things. I remember my daughter, when her girls were little, she was always saying, be aware of your surroundings. And that wasn't just for, you know, somebody that's going to kidnap them or trafficked, but it's everything. You know, you need to be aware of your surroundings. You know, it's not all about you and you get into your world, which our kids do, but, you know, to be aware of your surroundings and see what's happening around you. Any other last minute tips about how to protect your kids?
I think also a big thing parents have to do is be aware that a lot of this is going on social media. A lot of the grooming, a lot of the interactions. We just recently had a couple cases in Jacksonville in the Georgia area where the kids have been contacted talking to these people over a long extensive time on social media.
Right.
And some of the parents are not aware. So we have to use, teach our kids to use technology responsible, but we also have to remember we're their parents. There's apps that you can use to track their location, to track their communication, to see who they're talking to. It's ways that you can connect with their social media to kind of put the guard up or the hedge of protection around them and let them know that everybody who's reaching out to them might not have a good intention because of the world we live in. So I know as a young parent, that's one thing I try to teach my daughter, and also when I coach and mentor, it's like, who are you talking to? Why is this person engaging with you on social media?
Yeah.
What are they trying to get out of you on social media?
Right.
And then talk to your parents about these interactions.
Yeah.
We have to be more open to talk to our kids about, just simple conversations in a day-to-day,
Yeah.
so they'll be more willing to share information with us.
That's good, Shanette. Another thing is video games. Today, there's so many video games like Roblox that talk to the children, live, and you don't know who they are. So we have to be really careful and wise about what we allow our children to engage in. For sure.
Yeah, very good. Well, our time is up. I want to thank our panel here for all the information and suggestions. Well done. And I hope that we have at least given you the seed for what to do, what the next step might be for you. Think about these things and do your research, and let's see how we can protect our kids, because it's so important. So we look forward to seeing you next time on Chief Women Arise Talk Show. Have a good day.